So you're a booked out barber. Now what do you do? Well, in this video, I'll be going over the next 3 crucial steps you should be doing after you become a booked out barber. Step number 1, like any and every barber, my first goal was to simply become booked out. Once I achieved that, however, that's when things started going downhill. For 2 years straight, I literally woke up every single day cutting the same people, made the same amount of money, day after day, month after month. And a majority of people might wonder, what's wrong with that? Personally, this made me super unfulfilled with the work I was doing. I hated barbering, and ultimately I actually wanted to quit and leave the industry. Barbering literally had no point anymore to me. It became bland, and I was only 21 years old at the time. I literally dreaded the fact, thinking that this would be what the rest of my life would just come to. So what I decided to do was actually go all in and grow my business further, and found a shit ton of fulfillment in actually putting myself towards not only a mission, but also building something actively. And to me, that is step number 1. Focus on now making more and growing the business more. Because let's face it, every single person finds enjoyment and fulfillment in developing or growing in some aspect. And I think for majority of barbers, look, you have to realize you can grow this business. You can grow this business even further. For some perspective, I help barbers grow their businesses to make 20K plus a month. And to be honest, I just don't think most barbers think that's even possible. And so this leaves a lot of barbers just not even knowing what to go after as more. To drive this point home, you just think of it like this. Eventually, all of us, even you, want a family, a house, maybe even some kids. And I'm pretty sure just like anybody, you want to be able to provide for them as much as possible. So why not only set yourself up not only to provide for them, but also be present in their life? Because what most barbers who are booked out, who might even be younger, fail to forget is that eventually you will not want to put all of your time into just working. And instead you want to put more of your time into developing and growing a family. But we live in America and bills still need to be paid. So if you take care of your shit beforehand, get the business to making 20K a month right now, and only have to do about 80 to 120 haircuts every single month, you'll have a structure of a business to not only have a life and still be able to do your passion of cutting hair, instead of just slaving away behind the chair day after day, hour after hour, literally spending every waking moment inside of the shop, missing out on all the family events and watching your kids grow up. Because I'll be damned if I have to work this fucking hard not to be able to cherish those moments. And I don't think enough barbers even think about this early on. For me, this is a big part of what we focus on inside the Elevated Mentorship program, trying to scale barbers up inside of their business so that one day you don't have to even be cutting hair anymore. You can just go off and retire and move on to the next business, because barbering isn't a long-term career, but it's a great short-term cash flow business. So if you're a barber and actually want to work with us inside the Elevated Mentorship program and help you scale to 20K per month, you can apply to work with us through the links down below. Now for step number 2. Not too long ago, I was on a call with a barber who actually wanted to join the Elevated Mentorship program, but he hadn't really been growing inside of his business. He'd been burnt out from working like all these long hours, and overall, just like any other barber who gets into a position, he kind of lost the love for cutting hair. But the biggest thing was he really didn't know what he wanted to do next. He couldn't leave barbering right now because, I mean, this is how he made his living, right? This is how he paid bills. But he started hating waking up and going to the shop and cutting hair every single day, and that's not something he wanted to continue to do with his life. I just asked him a simple question. What are you even working towards? Of course, he really didn't have an answer to this. He was really just working with no end goal in mind or really a retirement date. He was more or less just making money to keep up with bills and buy a few cool things here and there. And he was overall embarrassed because he never even set a goal for himself, period, from barbering. And of course, if you have no goal, if you have no destination, you are going to feel lost. Because again, too, you're not building towards something and you're kind of just aimlessly walking through life. And this brings us to step number 2. You have to start thinking with the end in mind. When are you actually going to retire and step away from barbering? It's kind of like the simple thinking, like you wouldn't buy a plane ticket without knowing the destination, right? I truly believe every single barber should have an end date or a retirement date. And a great idea or a great way of thinking about this is, what are you going to need in order to actually walk away from barbering? You're more than likely going to want to start another business. I don't think any barber is all of a sudden going to leave barbering just to work a regular 9-to-5 job. You also want to make sure the next business has a higher threshold of income of what you could potentially make. Let's just say like 7+ figures a year. So if we know we're going to start a business next and we want a business that can actually scale to 7+ figures a year, we can also make the assumption that there will be some type of startup cost to get this up and running. Also, by the time you retire from cutting hair, you probably still have some responsibilities like bills. Of course, you have to pay for food and everything like that. So you should have a good idea of how much money you actually want to have saved in the bank by the time you retire. Now, a great goal to have in my personal opinion is to have $150,000 cash that is post-tax money. This means you don't have to owe any more taxes. You've already paid Uncle Sam's his quarter. This is legit your money to keep. Now that you kind of understand the direction in which you go in terms of business, you have an understanding of how much money you want to have in the bank account. Now you should start thinking of when that time is of when you will retire. And a great example of this is maybe anywhere between 3 or 5 years from now. That's more than enough time to grow the business, stack as much cash as possible, and get out in the shortest amount of time possible. Because now you're just left with figuring out what you need to do in order to get the business to that level of 15, 20K per month, keeping all of your expenses low, stacking as much cash as possible to be able to reach that goal. Now you have something to work and progress towards, which again, for a majority of you, will give you a lot of fulfillment in barbering and cutting hair again. Which leads me to step 3. Now, recently I was working the barber in the elevated mentorship program who was getting phenomenal results. He was getting a couple price raises, getting new clients about 15, 20 every single month. Everything was smooth sailing. Out of nowhere, he completely lost momentum. I mean, for a few weeks, he completely got off track and just demotivated from even growing the business. So, of course, I reached out to figure out what the hell was actually going on. And he flat out told me he was just in a slump and lost motivation. Now, when I asked him why, his answer was very simple. He lost motivation because he didn't know what the next business, what that next thing after barbering will be for him. And this overall crushed him. He was having so much growth so fast that he, 1, didn't feel like he deserved it, and 2, he felt very far behind and felt like he was almost doing this for nothing because he didn't know what the next thing was going to be for him. To simply put, he just got analysis paralysis. So I just shared my story of basically I had no fucking clue what I was going to do next after barbering whatsoever. But I did know that if I didn't take care of business with barbering, if I did not push that all the way to its max level, that I would for sure not even have another door open for me afterwards or another opportunity open up afterwards for a potential business once my time came to leave barbering. Don't worry about what's next. Don't get analysis paralysis on this damn thing, because in order to get to the next thing, you have to take care of business with what's on your plate right now. And for the majority of you, that's taking your business as a barber to its max level. Now, again, a lot of you will want to go ahead and run a business as your next venture, but might be lost in what the hell that business might be. Again, my recommendation is always look at the business model and what it can provide for you, and look for something that can make you figure jump, as I like to call it. Meaning barbering is about a 6-figure per year business model. Not going to blow past that. So for the next business model, you want to see something that can grow past 7 figures plus per year. Because why just do another business that keeps you in the same income threshold? It makes 0 point to me. Now, in order to get to that level of 7-figure per year business, you're going to need to develop yourself as an entrepreneur that is deserving of having a 7-figure per year business. Because you ask any higher level entrepreneur, and they will always double down on the fact that who you are right now must change in order to get to the next level. Because if you didn't have to change at all, you would already be at that next level. And in my personal opinion, barbering is the best vehicle for us to go ahead and develop ourselves. And really, it's the only vehicle to learn marketing, product development, financial discipline, hell, even develop yourselves in a personal development type style to be that 7-figure per year business owner. However, it is up to the barber to decide if they actually want to apply themselves to push their business to 20K per month, to be able to learn those lessons and continue their entrepreneurial journey. Because to be honest, there are a lot of barbers who are just comfortable being average. And if somebody is comfortable and genuinely happy with that, I'm okay. But I'm not okay with that with somebody who has high expectations and wants to achieve great things in their life, but cannot apply themselves to push themselves and their business to the max level. That should be your focus.